Everyone, you heard it here first. We got our game of the year 2020, 2025, dude. It's Ball X Pit. Psych! Psych of the fucking century. I was lying. I'd be a crazy bitch if I ever said that. If anyone says that, they should be fired out of a fucking cannon, okay? That's how you know there'll be an imposter me. If I say that I like a Survivors game, that you know that can't be me, Treebone, okay? This is about Survivors, quote unquote, games, okay? I put games in quotes because I don't even think they meet the requirement to be considered a game. You have no say in your success or failure. It is entirely determined by randomness. And people are going to argue with me on this, but you're wrong, okay? I'll friggin' dance circles around you on this one. You don't have a choice. I can sort of be more efficient or whatever. No, you can't, okay? The formula dictates that it's impossible to win in the beginning and at certain choke points along the way. Your character is either missing a vital stat for your success or more powerful unlocks in the form of a weapon or an upgrade or a stat boost or a character. And once these are acquired, success is guaranteed, okay? It goes from unwinnable to unlosable. The only metric to your success is time. The longer you play, the more you build up your statistics or whatever it is. You know, you have next to zero control over your character since you're only able to move. And the rest of the game happens via automatically timed attacks. There's a fake sense of strategy because the only thing you can do is to influence your runs is to choose upgrades as you level up. However, it's virtually impossible to create a bad build. I would argue anyone that has like a brain, you would have to be picking stuff wrong on purpose. If the first item you pick is like, increases your critical hit chance, and then you like never pick that again, you'll still be fine. You just chose one thing wrong. And if you choose like the opposite every time, there's not even enough options in the game, right? If it's like, I choose crit chance, and then I choose health plus, and then I choose speed plus, and then I choose strength plus. Eventually, it's going to roll back around to doubling up on some of the stats. There's not enough stuff in the game for you to pick something different every single time and have it matter. Okay? Since you're handicapped in control, the game like almost always allows you to get a good build in this regard. And your selections are meaningless anyway because it's such a small pool of choices. It inherently makes the game not a challenge. It's a tier grind hidden behind the guise of a horde battler. And I don't understand how it tricks so many people. Like, you reach these gated roadblocks in fake difficulty where you cannot progress, so you must increase your stats via meta progression, which means you just play it more and more and more and more. It's why these people have 400 hours played on games that mean nothing. You put in playtime to unlock better upgrades, but you're not actually doing anything. You're getting upgrades for your abilities, your skills. All you can do is run in circles. It's worse. Like and every game is just a different variation of Vampire Survivors, but they're not like doing anything that adds skill into it in any game. And you're all going to be mad at me or whatever, but I'm right. Think about it critically for a fucking moment. There is no challenge. Everyone who wins because you got lucky. And everyone loses because you're supposed to lose until you get lucky. The structure is made to ensure max playtime. There's no mental stimulation. Your choices do not matter. You have no control, and success is guaranteed if you log enough hours. Now, Vampire Survivors is the progenitor. It ushered in an era of copycat drivel. The creators of Vampire Survivors should be buried alive. Not only was it successful in making the psychological Skinner box, it looks like toddlers puke. They didn't have the decency to make the game nice to look at. Since all you can do is walk in circles while your weapons automatically attack, there's just no skill involved. You can walk. You can play this game one-handed. And a bunch of these games, I'm going to talk about examples of them later on, but Vampire Survivors, I know specifically, there are builds where eventually you get strong enough or you have it built enough where you don't have to move. I've seen countless videos of this, and you can go look them up online. You can stand entirely still and succeed. Like, it will kill everything on screen for you because you're that powerful. What is the point in playing a game that you build to play for you? It makes no sense. You're not playing a game then. Who is enjoying this? I was actually so strong at the 20-minute mark that I let the game go. I stood there and watched it. It turned into a movie, except for it's not engaging or compelling or entertaining in any way. You just walk in circles, or not even that. You after you automatically kill enough, you have to pick up the experience point shards on the ground or whatever. They put a big flashy level up bullshit graphic on the screen. It's like gambling, but you always win and you're not putting in your own money. It's like bowling with bumpers. You know what I mean? Like eventually you're going to knock down all the pins. This goes on for 20 or so minutes or longer. Like each run is like 30 minutes sometimes until you lose. Then you get some unlocks, and it's either given to you for killing enough enemies or earning enough XP or having enough playtime. And then these new abilities are stronger or allow you to quote unquote beat a level by lasting for whatever their beat a level requirement is, right? Snooze. I could have watched an episode of Futurama and jerked off 5 times with that 30 minutes. And now we're going to break down why they all do it this way. All of your favorite like Survivors games, they're not real games. And it honestly like blows me away that like, I'm pretty sure Vampire Survivors got like accolades. And I know some of these other games got like reward or awards and things like that. So obviously Vampire Survivors sucks. It's like the original piece of shit that like tricked everyone. And then it made a genre and got it popular. You are not playing a game. I cannot stress this enough. You are not playing a game. You are running in circles. Every aspect of it beyond that is a trick. It is designed to make you think that you are doing something. There is no skill involved. Anyone can do this. You can have someone run in circles. You can have someone try and kill themselves, run into the enemy. Eventually, you will get enough meta progression that it won't matter and you will succeed. You can win. Like anyone who has, or maybe even they'll kill you if you do that. You would have to try, right? That's maybe the caveat. You would have to run into the enemies on purpose, which is the antithesis of the game. So you would have to it'd be like playing an online shooter, like playing Call of Duty and then just facing down and emptying your gun into the ground over and over again, right? You'd have to try to give the enemy their success because, even there's been parts of and here's the thing. For me to have all this information, I have sunk dozens of hours into these games so that I know them better. You can't even say, oh, you don't know that. You don't even have the leg to stand on. You don't know what you're talking about. You didn't even play that far. I have more hours than you in these games for the sole purpose of being able to hate on them more effectively, okay, more proficiently. Okay. I said, wow, this sucks. This is awful. I have to see if it develops more in the end. It doesn't. I literally get to a point where I have to put the controller down and go, okay, this has smoothed out my brain. Okay, this is worse for me than binge drinking. Okay, there's something happening to my brain chemistry when I play these that is turning me into an invalid. It's out of control. So Vampire Survivors, the same. I've seen it. People have used garlic or whatever, and it hits people in a circle around you. It's not even on a timer. It's just that they come into that range, and you can buff it enough and get other skills enough that you can literally just stand still. And the trick of part of these games, why I say it's a Skinner box, is because it's rewarding you. You're just stuck in there, and it feels like you're getting reward because I'm winning, right? It takes out all the skill of having to aim at enemies while concurrently moving. And, games like Kill Knight, where you can't just win, you have to be talented at handling an array of things, like managing your weapon ammo, your special ammo in that game, and also managing your dodge ability, and also managing, which has a cooldown and things like that, also managing shooting people while doing all of this, and your active reload ability. So it's like you have a game like that is like the telltale sign of those is if it's skill based, could you potentially beat this with no upgrades? So like Kill Knight is if you have good enough, if you're good enough at aiming, shooting, reloading effectively, using your power weapons, like balancing your use of power weapons so you don't use up your ammo before you get it back, using your melee ability, using your dodge correctly. If you're good at all of that, you will succeed. There's no real reason why. You get other unlocks in the game. And this is another thing I do just to prove my point on stuff like this. You get other unlocks in the game and different guns and things like that. And I very purposely beat it with the main equipment without changing anything. Kill Knight, that is, to prove that it's possible with the standard gear. You don't need any upgrades. It's skill-based, okay? And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it engaging. That's what makes it compelling. If you play a game like Vampire Survivors, if you go, oh, I beat it, that means nothing to me, right? You could have beaten it in 10 tries by getting really lucky, or you could have beaten it in after 2,000 hours because you just ram your head against the wall over and over again, and eventually you break through concrete that way. There is no skill involved. It is simply a matter of time. It is a actual literal, not literal, is an actual time sink. You are putting your time into this to win, okay? And that's it. All you're putting in is time. There's no skill involved. There's been times in these games, it's another one. They have the Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, right? I was into Deep Rock Galactic, so I said, let me play the Survivors version. There will be times when they send, they continually send waves of enemies. There'll be times when I get to the end, and I'm good at making builds, to counter to my counterpoint. I'm good at making builds. I'll be in the last round, and even an earlier round sometimes, and they send so many enemies at me, and I can't kill them fast enough because the game blocks you. They do this on purpose. I can't kill them fast enough. They literally can't. There's no dodge in this game, so all you can do is run around. I'm very good at even that, which doesn't really have a metric, but eventually they will overrun me because the game wants you to. That's how it's built. It's supposed to be designed to be hard. And in that game, there's a meta progression where you have like 20 stats that if you collect enough things while you're playing a level, you can upgrade that stat permanently, right? So it's like, oh, I don't do enough permanent damage, or I don't have, there's other things you can do to upgrade your stuff. I don't have these back end upgrades. So I literally cannot do enough damage here. I've had nothing wrong with my build. I didn't make any mistakes in it. I built it out with the express purpose of, having a powerful thing in mind. And it just doesn't work. There's nothing you can do because you don't have, the only skill you have is to move around the map, right? So it's like if I move around and I don't get touched, but I also cannot kill them, there's nothing I can do to influence that. That's what I'm talking about. There comes a point where all you can do is run around. I'm moving around to the maximum of my ability. I'm dodging as best as I absolutely can with the speed they've given me compared to the speed of the monsters. And then you die anyway. And I just played there was one on Game Pass a couple days ago that I didn't realize it was a Survivors game. I downloaded it. And literally the first one I played, I went the full 30 minutes. I got to the final boss or whatever, and that's exactly what happens. One-on-one against the boss of the last stage, and he ends up speeding up as the fight goes on, and he goes faster than you to the point where I can no longer dodge his abilities because they've tied this to a meta progression that I have not done. If I had faster movement I've literally maxed out some of the unlocks playing that game. I maxed out some of the my strength or whatever it was. It doesn't even show me that upgrade anymore. Which exactly could also just be luck. I could have just got really bad luck again, where at some point it just stopped showing me that upgrade, so I can't max out my thing, which again is another reason why you are not in control. If you get the upgrade you want, if you're like, oh, using the lightning ability is really strong, if I can get as many upgrades for that as possible, and it just never gives them to you, well then you're fucked, right? So again, there's no choice. You have to hope and pray that you get good ones. It's a roll of the dice. It's the draw of the card, which I don't like. And so let's go to the next thing, the draw of the card. Balatro or Balatro, however you say it. Again, skillless. I played it. I tried it out. You can do as much as you possibly can. And again, this one I did jump out of it early because I got the hint that I was like, oh, this is just another Survivors game, basically, where it's, it might not be. It's different in the fact that you're not doing a horde shooter, but it's got the spirit of it, right? But they bake the cards directly into it, and it's another thing where you can build it as best you can, and maybe they have something in the late game where you can make it exactly what you want and it's more controllable. But there was plenty of times where the deck is large enough in the beginning, and I didn't want to suffer through it. It was just so boring, where it was like you get a peek behind the veil, which I say is always a death sentence for a game. You don't want to start looking at the code. You don't want to start looking at what they've done. If you were to go into the dev room when they were making it and there's a whiteboard and they say this is the outline of the game, this is the flow chart of how it will go for the player, you don't want to have access to that. You want to feel like you're playing a game, right? And so when I'm playing this game and I go, well, that sucked, I just lost that round because I needed this card and it's a random draw and I never got it, I go, okay, well, I guess I just have to continue to fail until I get better back end upgrades, or I get good luck on my card draws, or whatever system the game has baked in for you to succeed in that fashion. Okay. Again, someone who's quote unquote good at these games is not actually good because there's so little you can do to influence your stuff and to influence what you can do at all. And most of these games is just movement. Vampire Survivors, Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, whatever other, Brotato is identical. That one has like a gun building mechanic. But again, I've beaten that several times. I've beaten all of these like several times. I've reached, well, whatever like the end game state. I've completed a run in Deep Rock Survivors dozens of times, like a full dive. Vampire Survivors, I beat a level or whatever. Like you get to 30 minutes, then like death comes and kills you or something. I haven't played that one in a while. But I've done that a dozen times. Balatro I gave up on early. Ball X Pit is another egregious one. I saw someone playing it online. I said, is this another one of those? It is. But they hide the survivors thing behind you're playing Block Blast or whatever, where it's like Pong, but the other side is just a row of blocks, right? Except for, again, there comes a point, the same thing with Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, the same thing with Vampire Survivors, the same thing with Ball X Pit. There is a meta progression in this game. It's very clear. You unlock blueprints, and after each round of a level, you go back to a town where you can build buildings, which you also play as like a mini ball pit game with the characters you unlocked. You could bounce them off of things for bonuses and to build buildings and things like that, and to unlock and to gather items, which will then allow you to unlock even more. And a lot of this is actually tied to stats. It's tied to like stats. It's like, oh, you only unlock the building that gives you strength after like 5 buildings, right? So it's like, well, you just have to keep playing in the meantime to get more blueprints, to get more unlocks, to get more stats up, right? So there comes a point where, again, I'm not missing a single shot. I'm playing as accurately as I can. I'm bouncing the ball, in a very efficient manner to hit the most things or to utilize my abilities in the best of my fashion that I absolutely can. And that one, it tricks you again into thinking you have more control because, again, you can shoot these balls and you can I guess there's no reason not to auto shoot at all times most of the time. And again, this is being said, I actually fully completed a run and unlocked New Game Plus on Ball X Pit. So I have even more experience with this one. But there was a time when the screen was full of enemies and I was just hitting them and they just weren't dying. There's nothing I could do until I get those stat upgrades. So again, this is not even indicative of skill in any way because it's just a multi-tiered system of unlocks that you're doing. You're not getting better at the game. It's just, level 1, it lets you beat in the beginning. And then level 2, it won't let you beat, most likely. There's no real way to play better. But in level 2, you unlock the speed upgrade that gives you a couple more points of speed. And then once you get that, you can beat level 2. And then once you beat level 2, you can't beat level 3, and then you get another upgrade. And it just keeps going back and forth where they block you, they gate you until you can get an upgrade, right? And then you unlock a character instead of a thing. So it's like, I didn't even really get an upgrade. I unlocked a character instead. And I play with that character. And then I unlock a blueprint for an upgrade building. And it just keeps going back like that. The most psychotic, most egregious thing about Ball Pit is that you eventually get a character that plays the game for you. And now this is like what I was talking about before where you could stand still. I'm not even joking. You get a character that will play for you. I don't get it. Who is this for? You unlock a character that says, I literally have achievements in that game that were rare achievements from beating it that I wasn't even there for. I was so appalled at this. I would pick the guy that you can play the game for you and I would walk away. And I came back in 10 minutes and he beat the level. And then I used his blueprints that he built to upgrade my stats. And then I put him on the next one. And I did this until I unlocked New Game Plus. I was like, this is psychotic. I honestly, they shouldn't be allowed to say their games. It's a trick. You're all being tricked. And then it's just so unreal. It is a blight on the gaming community. They are getting accolades. They are getting awards. They're not even real games. And I'm going to even go one step further. A lot of games are one step removed from this, where it gives you more control over a game. Say even where they're just so insanely linear. The next step up from these would be games like a roguelike style game, like Risk of Rain. Now let me explain, because people are going to be mad about this too. Risk of Rain 1 and 2. And again, I've beaten Risk of Rain 1 when it originally came out, before the stupid remaster or remake or whatever, with every character. When I first played out, I didn't realize it was a trick as well when it first came out, okay? Because there wasn't a lot of these games. But Risk of Rain 1, there comes a point when they put so many enemies, they overload you with so many enemies that you cannot win without upgrades. Okay, and you might say, oh yeah, well that's the point of the game. But no, that's what I'm saying. That's the division between skill and luck. And there, nothing that you really do impacts your run. At the end of the day, and people know what I'm talking about, and you're not going to want to admit it to yourself, but people who've played Risk of Rain 1 and 2, when you get to like the deep levels, I haven't played 2, but I've seen people play it, and I know it's this way. You got to trust me. Risk of Rain 1, you go through like 5 levels, and then you could either choose to beat the boss or like do them all again. Or until you like end it. I don't really remember, but you can like continually go around to make it harder and harder. And that's like fun if you have a ton of unlocks. So like as you play Risk of Rain and you kill certain enemies and you get money, and then you could use that money to run around the map and unlock chests, and the chests give you random upgrades to your character and random like new attacks and things like that. And it could be like, oh, when you kill an enemy, that enemy dies and releases 5 rockets which hit other enemies, or whatever. It could be like you do more damage, or you get more knockback, or whatever. It could be a bunch of different things. But it enhances your character to the point where it makes it viable. Without these unlocks, you cannot win, okay? There's been times when it's been, again, there's so many monsters, and some characters have a dodge move, some don't. You know, you can get healing drones, other things like that. But it's like there comes a point where if you have not gotten enough good upgrades, you lose. There's nothing you can do to impact it. I can play perfectly. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong in Risk of Rain 1, but I don't think it's possible that you can beat like all 5 levels without any upgrades. If it is, it's not possible for the average person. It's possible for, I don't know, the most elite gamer of all time, which shouldn't be the metric of a game. Anyway, I'm telling you, I don't think it's possible. Where to beat it without any upgrades. So then you realize, if you're thinking about this critically for a moment, if you can't beat it without any upgrades, whether or not you win a run comes down to whether or not you got good items, which is pure luck. You can't influence what items you get, and the more unlocks you get from like doing feats, the bigger the pool of unlockable items becomes. So you actually get like worse odds at succeeding because there's more unlockable items as you play more. And then again, there's like, if you get enough of the good unlockable items, you can just clear everything on screen nonstop by doing very little. It's the same in Risk of Rain 1. I've seen it the same in 2. Everybody knows it. And I know you're listening to this. If you played Risk of Rain 2, you had a build that was so good that you just destroyed everything on screen instantly. There comes a point where it doesn't matter how good you are with your abilities. You need to have enough good unlocks to succeed. And I feel like a lot of roguelikes are that way. Like Hades is good because you can do it with nothing if you wanted to. And Hades is good for a bunch of other reasons, but I'm saying you have a weapon that does damage and you have a dodge. If you're good enough, you could just beat Hades without using any abilities. It would take a long time, which like would make it not fun, but he's not unbeatable. You could do it like, I think the average gamer could pull that off. Doing it with like just dodging and attacking, you could beat him. It'd be difficult because then it'd be hard to chip the enemies down, but you have dodges. You are untouchable if you play very well. But a lot of these like roguelikes I've played that are in addition to that, some of them are like straight knockoffs, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. Again, if you don't get good unlocks or good meta progression, there's nothing you could do. You get to the end and they're just too strong. And there's been a couple, that one specifically, the TMNT and like Inkbound is like a game that I've played. I've like beat Inkbound a dozen times, and that one gets to a point where there are only like a couple viable builds. I've done like a poison build where I would absolutely demolish the enemy and it would be no challenge at all. And then I would try to do like a fire build and it just wouldn't work. And then I was like legit, I did this on stream one time. I was trying to beat it with this one character. I tried like every other build besides poison. I tried fire, this, and that. And I said, okay, let me do poison. And I literally won that round. It's just that good. And so again, that's just boring. It's one step above a survivor's game. If you have one build that you need that can only beat the game, or it relies entirely on the luck of finding things throughout the game against your will, it's not a game. Survivors games are not games, and I'm sick of pretending they are. I'm sick of pretending they're good, okay? They're not games. They are good for wasting time. They're good for pouring a bunch of time in. That's the only way to unlock everything in the game and complete all of the levels that they put out for you. But they're not games, okay? We got to get over that, okay? I need you all to be honest with yourselves, okay? Survivors, they're not games, okay? You heard it here first, okay? You need help. This is your intervention. You need help, okay? And if you're playing Risk of Rain still, that's not really a game either, okay? You don't have skill. You're just getting lucky, okay? Might as well go play dice in the alley, all right? There's no skill involved. And I need a game with skill. I need it. Games have to have skill, okay? I'm sorry to break it to you all, but I did. I broke it. Now go play a real game, okay? Go play Ninja Gaiden. That game takes skill and it's hard. Okay? I'm out of here, dude. For the love of God, don't play Survivors games anymore. Tell everyone you know they're not games. Please, I don't want to hear about them.